Hey, what's up users? This is John at Muse for You, here to help you build awesome websites without code. And in this video tutorial, I'm going to go over the responsive side menu widget that I've just added to museforyoushop.com. So I really like this menu. It's very interesting. It's actually up here in the upper left-hand corner. So if I hover my mouse over it, we can see that the menu icons first appear, and then when we hover over any of the icons, the menu expands. So we have the different sections here, and if I click on section 1, it brings me to that section. So it works with anchor points in Adobe Muse, and you have multiple easing options for the scrolling to the anchors, and you can set the anchor speed. So this menu is a lot of fun, and it's fully responsive, so it works on desktop and mobile, and it just looks really great. So on mobile, it actually covers the entire mobile screen, and then you just click here, and then you can see the other sections like that, or the website when you close it. And then I'll expand it for desktop, and there's the menu, and we can just go to those different sections just like so. All right, and I'll go back to the shop. It's actually here in Muse for You shop. In the Muse for You shop. So to access it, you just go to museforyoushop.com, and then you can click on the pop-up here. And then here's the responsive side menu. Here you can subscribe to get access to all widgets and any new widgets I come out with for $39 a year. And then down here, you can also use PayPal to subscribe. And if you want to purchase the widget individually, you can click here. And here you can click add to cart to purchase individually, or again, you can get access to all widgets and any new widgets I come out with for $39 a year. And then right here are all the features that are included in the widget. It's a fully responsive side menu. You can customize all the colors in the menu. You can add up to 12 menu items. You can choose from over 600 font awesome icons for the menu icons. You can change the text with Adobe Muse's built-in text feature. You can link to anchor points, internal pages, and external pages. You can set the scrolling speed to the anchor points, and you can add scroll easing when scrolling to the anchor points. And then to add it to Adobe Muse, you just install the widget and drag and drop it into your Adobe Muse website. Here are the widget options, and I'll go over all of these in this video tutorial. So now that I've gone over the widget, I'm just going to open up my Adobe Muse website, and we'll just recreate that website that I just previewed in the beginning. So I'll go to File, New Site, and I'll click OK. I'll double click on the home page, and I'll set the browser fill right away, and I'll just set it to this image here, and I'll scale to fill and position it in the center. Okay, so now to access the widget, when you first get the widget, it comes in a zip file. So you simply extract the zip file, and then you double click on the .mulib file that's in that zip file, and you'll see it. It'll say .mulib, and it'll be this icon that looks like it says mulib in the icon, but you'll know which icon it is. And then once you double click on the icon, it will install into your library panel in Adobe Muse. If you don't see your library panel, you can just go to Window and click on Library. So it brings up the library panel, and now I'll scroll down to the responsive side menu widget, which is right here. Now to add the widget to your Adobe Muse website, you simply click on the widget here from the drop down, and you click, hold, and drag and place onto your Adobe Muse website. And then I'll click Allow, and there's the widget. And with the new release of Adobe Muse, it allows for widget scrolling, and that's why I was able to add so many menu items to this widget and so many options. So it's really customizable, and you can just do a lot with it. So as soon as I add the widget, I'll just place it here in the upper left-hand corner. As soon as I add it, the menu is on the website. So if I go to File, Preview Page in Browser, and I go to the menu, we have the menu. It initially starts with 5 menu items, but you can change. Let's say I wanted 12 menu items. I can go here, select the amount of menu items. I'll say 12, and then I'll go to File, Preview Page in Browser, and there I have 12 menu items. And it works really well for mobile devices. As you can see, it covers the entire screen for mobile devices. Okay, and you also have the option of removing that bar at the top. There's this button here that says Remove Top Bar, and now if I go to File, Preview Page in Browser, that top bar is removed, and we just have the square here in the corner. I kind of like it with the top bar, so I'll just kind of leave it in there. Okay, and here we can customize all the colors. You can customize the lines in the menu, you know, top lines, in between lines, and just pretty much everything in the menu is customizable. So what I'm going to do in this video tutorial is set the menu items to 8 menu items, because I'm going to have 7 different sections, and I'm going to have 8 menu items. So if I go to File, Preview Page in Browser, we can see we have the menu items there, and we can also change the text of the menu items. So if I click on the widget, I can change the text by going to my text panel, or you can click on text right up here in the toolbar at the top. But I'll use the panel here, the text panel, and then I'll change the text to let's say Lotto. I'll change the text to Lotto, and yeah, so that's basically it. Now if I go to File, Preview Page in Browser, hover over the menu, the font is Lotto. Okay, so now I'm just gonna rename the menu item. So I'm gonna go to the widget, and here in the menu item section, we've already selected the amount of menu items, and here for each section we can select an icon for the menu item. We can change the menu item name, and we can link it to an anchor. So for this one, I'm gonna say home for the first one, so that first menu item is going to bring us back to the top of the page, and I'll just randomly select an icon. It's not really going to pertain to the menu, but this is just for example purposes. And then this next section I'm going to call section 2, and I'll make it capital. I'm going to leave anchor 1, or actually I'll call it home with no capital, and then I'll call this section 1, and then that was for the second menu item. The third menu item, I'll select any icon, and I'll call this section 2, and I'll change the anchor to section 2 with no space. And you wouldn't necessarily have to change the anchor point name. I'm just doing this to kind of show you how it works in the menu. So here we have section 3, and then I'll call this section 3 here. I'll select another icon. I'll call this section 4, and I'll just name the anchor point section 4, and then there we go, and I'll call this section 5. And I'm actually just going to do 6 menu items just to save some time in this video tutorial, but you can have up to 12. So there I have section 1 through 5, and I have the home button. So for the amount of menu items, I'll just set it to 6, because we're only going to use 6 menu items. And so now I'll create the different sections, because we're first going to create a one-page scrolling website, and then I'll show you how to link to internal pages and external pages. So I'm going to create some sections. I'm just going to create some text, or actually better yet, I'll just select the text tool. Over here to the left, I'll create a text box, and I'll call this section 1. Then I'll change the font. I'll say 72. The text, I'll change it to this again TS I got from pixelbuddha.net, and then I'll change the leading so it's centered in that text box. And first, let me set like a custom size there for the text box. Let me make the text white so it's easier to see, and then I'll center it, and I'll change the spacing between the text there to make it look nicer. And then the leading, I'll make it a little bit larger so the text is centered in that text box. And perfect, so there we have the text, and I'm going to bring in some colors so I can just use these colors for the background of these sections. So I'll just fill it like that. So that's section 1. I'll bring it down a little bit. I'll copy and paste. Let me zoom out. And I'll call this section 2. Copy and paste these two. And I'll call this section 3 and section 4. And then one more to give us section 5. Okay, and then I'll just distribute the spacing between these 5 sections. So I'll select those sections, I'll go to align, and then here under align to, I'll say selection, and then I'll distribute the spacing vertically between each other. Okay, so those are my 5 different sections, and I'll change the color just for fun of each of the sections. Okay, so those are the different sections. And let me zoom in here. Yeah, there we go. So now what I want to do is add the anchor points. So here in the anchor point, in the toolbar to the left, we have this anchor point button. So to add anchor points, you just click on this anchor here, and then you click on the section that you want. If you know you're going to add multiple anchor points, you can just click on this anchor point depending on how many anchor points you want to add. So I want to add 5 different anchor points, or 6. So I can click on this 6 times. I've already clicked on it once. So if I click on it 5 more times, I'll say I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now I have 6 anchor points on my cursor. So if I click, and I'll call this first anchor point home, I'll click again right above section 1, I'll call this section 1, I'll click again above section 2, I'll call this section 2, I'll click above section 3, I'll call this section 3, I'll click above section 4, call this section 4, and above section 5, and I'll call this section 5. Alright, now I'm going to align all of these elements. I'll go to align, let me take the text box there off. I'll distribute the spacing between all of them, and I'll align to content area, and I'll position it in the center. Okay, so now the spacing is aligned between the anchor points, and if I wanted to move these elements closer to the anchor points, I could just select them all, hold down shift, and with the arrow up, bring the arrow up like that. Okay, I'm going to zoom in up here, and I'm going to center this home button as well right at the top. So now our menu works to these anchor points. So if I go to File, Preview Page in Browser, and I hover over them, we can see these icons are changed. If I click on section 2, it goes to I must have not named them correctly, but as we can see, it goes to those different sections. And for the browser fill, I'm going to say no scrolling. But let me see what I did here. I think I renamed them differently. So let's see. Home is home. Section, this should be section 1, section 2, section 3, section 4, and section 5. Okay. So now it should work good. File, Preview, Page, and Browser. I'll go to the menu. So there we have the different sections. Section 1, section 2, section 3, 4, and 5. And if we notice, the sections are over the menu. So to bring the menu to the top in front of everything, we can just right click, arrange, and bring to front. Or another thing we could do is put the menu on the master page. So if I hit Command X to remove the menu from here, I can go to the master page and then right click and paste in place. And now if I had multiple pages, that menu would be on all the pages. So let me go back in here into this page, or I'll go to the master page. And now that I've added all the anchor points and set these menu items to the anchor points, we can work with the scroll speed and easing. So for instance, I can set the scroll to speed to 1000, or it's in milliseconds, so 1000 milliseconds equals 1 second. And here you can set the scroll to offset from the anchor. So let's say you've set your anchor points, but you want the anchor point to scroll a little bit before the anchor point or a little bit after. You can actually set the offset here in pixels, and then here you can say before or after the anchor point. And then for the easing, you can choose from multiple easing options, and this just changes the way the menu scrolls to that anchor point. So it can have a kind of a smoother easing or kind of a different type of easing. And I'll make a video kind of on the different easing functions. There's some really nice websites that show you how the different easing functions work. But basically, it's just adding some more kind of fluidness to the way the menu scrolls to the anchor point. So for instance, I'll choose ease in cubic for this. And now if I go to plan, I go to the home page, I go to File, Preview Page, and Browser. I go to the menu and I click on section 2. It kind of has a different easing to it. And if we notice, the menu is still behind some of these sections, and that's because in the master page, what we needed to do is go to the library panel, and we need to we need to go to the layers panel. if you don't see the layers panel, you can just go to window and click on layers. But we need to create a new layer, so I'll click on this new layer icon. Looks like a piece of paper. Now we have layer 2, and we want to place this menu on layer 2 because all the elements of the website are on layer 1, and by making a new layer and putting the menu on layer 2 is on top of layer 1, and so the menu will be on top of all the elements. So if we notice here, we can see that all of these elements are on layer 1. So now if I go to File, Preview Page in Browser, now the menu is on top of all of those elements, and we have that nice easing. Okay, and let me change the home to capital, and here for home I'll just make it capital, and let's take Facebook off there. There we go. Alright, let's pick a different icon. There we go, paper plane. Okay, so there we have that. We've covered scrolling to the different anchor points with the menu, and yeah, let me go to the home page. And I know I've covered a lot of information kind of quickly, so if you have any questions, just let me know. But we have the menu and it goes to those anchor points, and it does work on mobile as well, and on other devices as well. So now I'll show you how to link to an internal page. So we have the second page here, and I'm going to call it page 1, or yeah, just page 1. And I'm going to give it a different browser fill. So I'm just going to select an image here. Doesn't matter really what image. And we have this image here. And so this is page 1. So now to link a menu item to that page, what we do is we go to the menu section, and for the menu link, you can do to link it to an internal page, you do // and then the name of the page without spaces. So the name of the page is page1.html. If I had a space between page and 1, it would be page-1. You can't have spaces in this section, so for spaces you'll put a dash in there. So you'll do // and the name of the website, the web page, and then .html. Then hit enter, and then I'll go back to the plan view. I'll go to the home page. I'll go to File, Preview Page in Browser. And now if I go to section 5, let's see why that didn't work. Let me go back to the plan view, and we'll go to, that's because we set section 4 to page1.html. Okay, so also when you're previewing multiple pages for Adobe Muse to render all the pages, you'll want to go to File, Preview Site in Browser, and that way you can preview all the pages that are in your website. So I'll go to the menu and I'll go to section 4, and we can see that section 4 goes to that new page. And because we don't have any anchor points on this page, the menu is not going to go to any anchor points. So now let me link the home section to this page, to the home page. So I'll go back to the menu on the master page, and for any home page on any website, it's always going to be index.html. So it's going to be /index.html. Okay, and that's always the home page unless you kind of change it in your FTP server, which I don't think is very likely, but it's going to be index.html for the home page. So now I'll go to File, Preview Site in Browser. I'll click on the menu and I'll click on Home. It brings us to the home page. I'll do section 4. It brings us to the next page, and I'll click on Home again, and it brings us back to this section, and we have the anchor points. All right, looks good. And now the last thing I'll show is how to link to an external page. To link to an external page is fairly simple. You just put the domain of the URL or of the website. So for section 5, I'll just link it to, section 6, I'll link it to, let's say, Google. So you do http:// and the website, so google.com, and that's it to link to external pages. So now I'll go to the home page, I'll go to File, Preview Site in Browser, go to the menu. If I click on section 5, it brings us to Google. And that's basically it. And I can do that for another section. I could link it to like let's say section 2 here. I could link it to museforYouShop.com. So now if I go back here, I'll go to File, Preview Page in Browser. If I click on section 2, it brings us to museforYouShop.com. Okay, so there we have the menu. We've linked it to various sections, anchor points, internal pages. We can see we can add as many icons as we want, or not as many, but we can choose from various icons from the Font Awesome icon set. And if you wanted to see the icons in Font Awesome, just type in Font Awesome in Google, and then you can click on Font Awesome. Then you can click on icons, and here are all the icons, and they have the same name in the widget. So you can pick which icons you want to use. Yeah, and you can choose from 12 menu items. I'll go back here, and yeah, it's just a lot of fun. You can link to anchor points, internal pages, external pages, and just really have a lot of fun with this menu. And we can see it's fully responsive, so I can go like this, and perfect. And I can even preview on my phone. So I have my phone here, and here's the menu. So if I open the menu on my phone, I go to those different sections, it will go to that section on the phone. And perfect. You can see it's a really nice menu, and you can even scroll within the menu. If you have like 12, you can scroll and it'll move the menu up and down, and it'll go to those different sections of the website using the anchor point scrolling. So as we can see, it works really well on mobile, and it's just a really fun menu. I kind of like the way it feels, or yeah, I do like the way it feels, and it's very fluid, and I think it could add a lot to your Adobe Muse website. So I think I've covered pretty much everything with this widget. Again, you can style all the colors. Everything is customizable. If I open it, trigger color on hover, trigger selected color, text color on hover, background color, menu item hover color, and then you can style all the lines. You can even make the lines like dotted, and that could be like here, I'll set this one to solid, and I'll make these dotted. So you could even work with the or change the thickness of all the lines in the menu. So if I go to File, Preview Page in Browser, go to the menu, we can see that these lines are dotted. So all these lines in between you can change. Here in the in-between lines you can change the thickness and the color, and for the top and bottom lines you can change between dotted lines, and change the thickness of those lines. And this right line here next to the button, you can change as well. You can remove lines if you don't want any lines. You could set it to 0 and not have any lines. So it's very customizable, and yeah, it's just a lot of fun to work with. So that's it for this menu. I think I've covered pretty much everything. We have the customizing the colors of the menu, linking the menu items and setting the icon for the menu items, linking to internal, external, or linking to anchor points, internal and external pages, and setting the scrolling options for the menu. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So to access this menu, you go to museforyoushop.com, and here I'll click on the pop-up, and here you can subscribe and get access to all widgets and any new widgets I come out with for $39 a year. And if you'd like to use PayPal, you can click here to use PayPal. And if you'd like to purchase the widget individually, you can just click on the widget. It's the responsive side menu widget, and then here you can click Add to Cart to purchase individually. Or again, you can get access to all widgets and any new widgets I come out with for $39 a year. So that's it for this video tutorial. Again, I do this to help you build awesome websites without code. If you like this video tutorial, you can subscribe below. Also in the Show More section below are links to other resources and links to museforyoushop.com. So again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video tutorial. Thank you.